Okay, welcome everyone. My name is Robin Vaughn. I am a technical service manager with the Office of Accountability. Today's revolving topic, focuses on the annual audit and its requirements. This presentation is being recorded. This recording and other documents will be sent out to registered participants. We will be posting links discussed in this training into the chat box. Please feel free to post any questions in the chat that you might have. There will be some time at the end of the training and we can go over those questions as well. Okay, so on the agenda today, the audit process has several recent changes and updates. This presentation will be a comprehensive representation of the audit process. I'll discuss the required steps of an audit and the various types of audit. We'll go over the materials necessary to submit a complete audit package. We will go over due dates and timelines of an audit and how to remain in compliance during the audit process. And finally, we'll conclude with some tips and resources that are available to you as grantees. The GATA portal is the state of Illinois' centralized access point for award management. The annual audit requirement will take place in the GATA portal. As part of the registration process for the GATA portal, your entity must submit its fiscal year end date. The fiscal year end date determines the timeline of the audit. The audit is completed either 6 or 9 months after the grantee's fiscal year ends. The length of time between the end of the fiscal year and the audit due date depends on the type of audit the entity is required to complete. So the audit will be required for each fiscal year you as the grantee receives an active award. Before we take the next 5 steps for your GATA audit, your entity must be registered in the GATA grantee portal. If you have an existing account, when you log into the GATA portal, you're going to select the sign in option. If you do not have a GATA portal account, please select the create account. It's here highlighted in the middle in the GATA portal. The portal web link, as well as the GATA new user guide and the GATA portal fact sheet are going to be posted in the chat. So when an audit request is generated, you'll see it in the GATA portal under the section labeled Audit Report Reviews. In this section, a new line will populate with a separate audit ID for each audit that is due. Each line is separated by a fiscal year. The grantee should double check that the grantee fiscal year is correct, or these dates may need to be regenerated. Please reach out to your assigned grant manager or to the help desk if you have fiscal dates that do not align. The audit process has recently been updated. The current guidance derives from the new ARMS 2.0 system. ARMS means Audit Report Review Management System. The ARMS 2.0 contains 5 steps that are required to be completed by the grantee. These 5 steps are the audit certification, the consolidated year-end fiscal or financial report, the CPA information and instructions, the audit package submission, and lastly, the certification and submission. There is an additional 6th step that you will see in the GATA grantee portal. This step is the management decision letter. This step is not completed by the grantee. The 6th step is the location where you can review the final decision letter at the close of the audit process. So let's talk about the first step. The first step in the audit process is audit certification. The audit certification form will dictate which audit type your entity will be required to complete for the fiscal year. This step serves as a notification to the state of which audit the state will expect to receive from you as the grantee. The audit certification form must be completed by all awarded recipients, and it must be completed within 60 days of the grantee's fiscal year end date. This new chart only applies to grantee audits with fiscal years that ended after October 1st, 2024. If your audit ended prior to October 1st, 2024, or your audit end year date ended prior to October 1st, 2024, please use the old thresholds in the previous chart. For reference, we will be referring to the new thresholds throughout this presentation. Grantees or their accountants should know the funding source and amounts for each of their grants. This information can be found in each executed grant agreement under Article 2 in Award Information. Your grant manager or accountant can also help you verify this information and in its location. The audit certification form asks the grantee to select the amount of grantee's federal and state expenditures for the fiscal year. These amounts from the chart previously shown will determine which audit type will be required. Audit types could be any of the following. We have the single audit, the generally accepted governmental auditing standards, financial statement audit, or GAGAS. We have the generally accepted auditing standards financial statement audit, or GAS. And then we have the cipher only. Oops. If the grantee answered yes to the first question, oh my goodness, sorry. If the grantee answered yes to the first question, indicating $1 million or more in federal expenditures for the fiscal year, then a single audit, if governmental entity or a non-for-profit, or what is known as a program-specific audit, if a for-profit entity, will need to be completed. Please note that the thresholds have recently been updated, and the GATA grantee portal may still reflect the previous thresholds. Please refer to the chart in green on the previous slide for reference when determining the specific threshold for your audit type selection. Okay, so if you as the grantee answered yes to the second question, indicating that $1 million, but more than you spent less than $1 million, but more than $500,000 in grant expenditures for the fiscal year, then an audit according to the generally accepted governmental auditing standards, or GAS, will need to be completed. Even though the name of the audit type has governmental in the name, the expenditure threshold will require the same type of audit, even if the entity is considered a for-profit. If you as the grantee answered yes to the third question, indicating less than $1 million, but more than $300,000 in grant expenditures for the fiscal year, then an audit according to the generally accepted auditing standards, or GAS, will need to be completed. If you as the grantee answered yes to the fourth question, indicating the entity has other reasons for submitting an audit or is voluntarily submitting an audit for the fiscal year, then an audit will need to be completed. Finally, if the entity or you as the grantee answered no to the previous 4 questions and has expended less than $300,000 in state issued awards, then the cipher only or consolidated year-end financial report will need to be completed. So as we saw in the series of 4 questions in step 1, all grantees, regardless of audit type, will require a consolidated year-end financial or fiscal report or cipher. The grantee or the accountant will select the fiscal year audit under audit reviews. Ensure you are in the correct fiscal year. Sometimes grantees can have more than one financial year populate in the GATA portal or fiscal year populate. The cipher is due at the same time as the audit. The cipher is populated with the various programs from which the grantee has received awards. So if a program is not indicated, the grantee should select the button to add a program, click View, the button on the far left of the program to enter amounts expended under each program. When the amounts have all been entered, the grantee should mark the cipher as complete. So to complete the cipher, the grantee will require a knowledge of the funding source for their grants. And as we referred previously, you can speak to your accountant and your grant manager or refer to your grant agreement to understand your funding sources. In the past, the expenditure amounts were based on budget category. This method was recently changed with the initiation of the new ARMS 2.0 system. DCEO is now removing all budget lines from the cipher. Going forward, the grantee will enter all expenses for the grant program under expenditures for all budget line items for DCEO grants. Also, please note that the previous versions of the cipher had a column for matching. The new ARMS 2.0 system does not have a matching amount category. It has been removed. More information on audits, changes, or other questions can be found on the GATA website under Audits. A link for this site is going to be posted in the chat. So as mentioned earlier, to determine if an expenditure should be classified as state or federal, please refer back to the executed grant agreement or request assistance from your grant manager. You can also reach out to us at the help desk and we can point you in the right direction. The program tab labeled All Other Federal Expenditures is primarily indicative of funding stemming from federal appropriations. These will represent amounts that have not already been claimed on any other cipher category. Select the Edit button from the Program tab labeled All Other Federal Expenditures and enter this number as a lump sum. So if you're not entering anything in another program, it should be entered here. The last section of step 2 is the required certification before submittal. When all financial fields of the cipher have been completed and double checked, you as the grantee or your accountant will attest that all information is true, complete, and accurate to the best of your knowledge. This will conclude step 2's requirements. Step 3, CPA instructions are new with the ARMS 2.0 system. The CPA instructions are a PDF file of detailed information given to each of the auditors conducting the audit. These instructions contain information that is needed in the audit package in order to have a complete audit submission. Alongside the CPA instructions, you will also find the corrective action plan template. A corrective action plan must be submitted for each finding identified within the audit report, including material weaknesses and/or significant deficiencies. The corrective action plan is a document separate from the auditor's findings and must provide the corrective action plan, the name of the contact person responsible for the corrective action, and the anticipated completion date. If a corrective action plan template is needed, you can locate the template by logging into the GATA grantee portal and navigating to the CPA instructions section. The link to the GATA grantee portal will be provided in the chat. Okay. Step 4 involves conducting the audit. So a single audit or program-specific audit will be due 9 months after the last day of the grantee's fiscal year. The other audit types, GAS or GAGAS, will be due 6 months after the last day of the grantee's fiscal year. If a grantee has not expended $300,000 or more, then the grantee will not be required to undertake the steps beyond step 2 of the audit process. At DCEO, we use the term audit package because the audit that the grantee's auditor or accountant conducts will be delivered as a package to the FAC or Federal Audit Clearinghouse. A link to the FAC will also be provided in the chat for your reference. The single audit or program-specific audit will automatically generate a due date. The audit package is then uploaded into the GATA grantee portal, and the grantee can merge all documents into a single PDF. The grantee compliance enforcement system, which outlines due dates and consequences should the due dates not be met, will be linked in the chat. It's under the Grantee Compliance Enforcement System, or GCES. Okay, with the GATA grantee portal, the list of required audit components will be displayed. When engaging with an accountant or an auditing firm, it may be helpful to check with the auditor on the requirements the auditor must fulfill. The entirety of the audit requirements linked in the chat is contained in the 44 Illinois Administrative Code 7000.90, or audit requirements. A link to that is going to be in the chat. And once you have reviewed all necessary requirements and verified all documents are attached, you will upload the package in the GATA grantee portal. The final grantee step is to certify all information and documentation provided in the audit package submission is true and, to the best of your knowledge, correct. After you have completed the certification, you will then submit the audit package. So what happens once you complete all of these steps? The department will receive and reconcile the audit submission. And if necessary, forward the audit on to outside contractors for verification. Any corrective action plan will then be approved. The last step will be the department issuing an acceptance of the audit with a pass designation, which will be listed on your MDL or your management decision letter. The management decision letter will summarize the audit findings and indicate the department's acceptance or denial ruling. All denials will outline the expected auditee action. Remember, the recommendations are not intended to be punitive. Once the acceptance occurs, the audit will be archived and no further action will be required. The Management Decision Letter, or MDL, is located in Step 6 of the Fiscal Year Audit Review in the GATA Grantee Portal. If the audit is not able to be completed by the prescribed time frame, the grantee could be placing themselves at risk of receiving a FENLOC status. The FENLOC is a notification that the audit is overdue. The grantee will receive a notification via email letter. The grantee will have 15 days to remediate the FENLOC. The FENLOC results in the grantee not receiving any reimbursement from any of its grants. So this will affect all awards from every state agency. If the FENLOC issue is not able to be addressed by the grantee within the required 15-day time frame, then the grantee will progress on to the next status of noncompliance. This involves the grantee being placed on the Illinois Stop Payment List. This occurs after the grantee is 15 or more days late with their audit. Other state agencies will not be able to execute, modify, or reimburse on any grant for the entity on the Illinois Stop Payment List. The state agency that has placed the entity on the Illinois Stop Payment List is the only agency that can remove the grantee from the list. Depending on the severity of the circumstances, the entity could be replaced on a permanent stop pay list. Removal from the stop pay list is not immediate. It can take 1 to 2 business days for the system to process the removal. More information on the Grantee Enforcement Compliance System can be found at the link in the chat. So some tips. Grantees will incur audit costs, so planning ahead for that expense will be necessary. Grantees should have a good relationship with their audit firm and establish what will be needed from the audit firm early on in the process. Non-compliance could restrict the movement of all of the entity's grants, so non-compliance should be avoided. Work with the grant manager or later on the auditing firm so that deadlines can be adhered to. It is critical that the GATA portal contact list be updated so that a person who has left the organization or who is on an extended leave is not the only person receiving reminder emails. Those with GATA portal access will be able to indicate the access type for each listed contact. Feed all pertinent new contacts into the portal, and grantees should find the section on their GATA homepage that states Grantee Portal Access. Click on the gray button that says Manage and make adjustments to the contacts listed. The GATA portal user will see a list of contact names, and to the left of the name, there will be a gray box that says Select. By clicking the Select box, the user will be able to see the relevant details pertaining to each contact in the GATA portal. In order to make a change or an adjustment, click on the Edit button at the top. A list of notifications or alerts will appear on the screen. The contact can be given access to the GATA Grantee portal and the Amplifund portal. The Amplifund portal is a widely utilized portal through many of state of Illinois agencies as a method of management in the grant process. Each alert box is important based on the time of year, but as an entity may have different rules for different contacts. It will be helpful to revisit the alerts and notifications section periodically throughout the year to ensure selections marked are accurate. Once the appropriate notification boxes have been checked, the changes can be saved via the changes saved button. If a mistake was made, the edit can be canceled. Alerts and notifications will be sent nightly. This does not mean that the contact will receive an email every night. You will only receive an email when you have fallen out of compliance, a questionnaire is due, or when other changes are needed. Okay, there we go. The legislation requirements for audits are outlined in 2 CFR 200, subpart F. They're duplicated in 44 Illinois Administrative Code, section 7000.90. You as the grantees, Agreement Article 12 will list the audit requirements as they apply to the grantee and program in question. The DCEO grantee resource page on the DCEO website will assist grantees who wish to learn more about the grant process, including the required audit components. GATA, or the Grant Accountability Transparency Unit, will also have resources. The audit manual will help grantees navigate the portal step by step. Links to all of these resources are posted in the chat. So thank you for attending our presentation on audits. We look forward to seeing you at our January 15th revolving topic presentation. January's topic will be registering in SAM.gov. You can sign up for this event or other training opportunities at the link in the chat. You can also scan this bit.ly code here with your phone, and it would take you to the website. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing, and we will answer questions now and go through the chat. Let's see if there's anything in here first. Okay, I don't see anything in the chat. So I'll take hands up, and it looks like we have Shanton Walker. I'm going to unmute you as soon as I find you, and then we can talk. Sorry, bear with me, technical difficulties.
I got them unmuted for you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My question is, okay, I've set up the GATA portal. Everything seems to be, okay. But when I go to the CSFA link to, see the the departments that are awarding grants and everything. So in that space, they have, like, I guess, a link, and when I click on that link and put it in another opening, it just brings me up like a PDA. So when you apply for those grants, do you send it to the email that's on that in that posting, or should it be like a application where you apply
Okay.
within that link? Because it just brings up a PDF, I should say.
I actually remember reading your emails in the help desk this morning, and I believe I responded to one of them. So if you would like, after this call, I can maybe get on a WebEx with you and we can walk through it if you would like.
Please.
Show you. Generally, when you are in the CSFA, let me pull it up real quick and I can try and show you briefly. Okay, so this is the CSFA, or the Catalog for State Financial Assistance. Caitlin has put the link for that in the chat there. When you're looking for funding opportunities, you're going to click here on Browse the list of current funding opportunities.
Yes.
Once you found one that you are interested in, let's say you want to do the tourism. When you review this side, this is basically a brief summary of the higher points of interest for the program, like the funding totals, the award range, due dates, times that it's due, stuff like that. So when you read the attachment, this is actually the notice of funding opportunity itself.
Yes.
And in the opportunity, it's going to show you the link, grant application link. When you click on this, it'll take you to a smart sheet. Usually, this is how it works. And it'll tell you where to submit it.
So would it be that CFS link or this link in the application document request?
It'd be the link in the app. It'd be the link in the notice of funding opportunity. And you can always follow up with the agency contact as well if you have further program specific questions or questions about where they want you to submit things, stuff like that. But we can get more in detail with this when we meet after this.
Okay.
I'll send you a link. But this is just a brief overview of where you can find the application link and where you're supposed to submit documents. It'll all be listed in your NOFO, and it'll tell you where you should be submitting them.
Okay.
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 Generally, it's a smart sheet for the most part. Every now and then, like once in a blue moon, you'll get somebody that wants it mailed to them. But for the most part, it's usually a smart sheet link.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Okay. Does anybody else have questions? Feel free to raise your hand. Oh, Megan was nice enough to put in there D4 of the supplement is where you actually submit. So thank you, Megan, for pointing that out for me. Yep, there it is. D4 will have let me share it real quick again, just so I can make sure everybody sees it as I am seeing it. In the notice of funding opportunity, section D, it says application and submission information. If you go under section D and scroll down to D4, it tells you submission times, dates, when it's due, and then there's the link for the smart sheet right there. And once you click on that, it'll take you to the smart sheet where you'll be able to upload all of your documents. Okay. Anybody else? Oh, Sarah Hanson. Go ahead and unmute yourself. I think I said it so you could unmute.
Hello.
Hello.
I have a question. We're part of a single audit, and we are affiliate organization inside of a much larger organization. And we've run into some problems with when we submit the audit, the organization that, the smaller organization isn't plainly named anywhere in that audit. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So when we send it off, sometimes to the Federal Audit Clearinghouse, they come back and say, this isn't the audit for this company, but it's part of that larger audit. Do you have any guidance on the best way to handle that? Or is there,
Okay, let's see. Caitlin, you have any ideas?
I'm looking up in the audit manual now. I don't have any ideas for you right now, but I can look into it.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
send an email to the help desk and
okay,
we can reach out to you with some answers.
okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, just send a notice into the help desk and then we'll help you figure it out. Okay, anybody else? All right.
What's the help desk email?
Caitlin has just posted it in the chat. It's ceo.granthelp@illinois.gov.
I see it, thank you.
No problem. Okay. Well, you have been a great group. Feel free to, oh, go ahead, James. You have a question? Feel free to unmute yourself.
I'm hoping to receive a $20,000 grant. Am I correct that I will not be required to undergo the audit procedures?
Yeah, yes, if you're under 300,000, you have to, it's not that you're not gonna undergo the audit procedures, you still have to do the certification form and the cipher in the GATA grantee portal. If that is your total, if $20,000 is your total federal and state expenditures for the year. So not just one grant. If it's your total amount, then it's only the cipher and the certification form. If you
Okay.
have multiple grants and expenditures above that, then you'll need to go through the audit process.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any other questions. You can also contact your grant manager, your audit firm, or refer to your grant agreement. Anybody else?
I had
Oh,
another question.
go ahead.
Um, we received a DCO grant that came in late. It was supposed to start in September, I believe, and they just changed our program budget period to begin on January 1st. That being said, do we have to do all of this for the previous, like, what is for DCEO? Do all the audits happen at the end of the year? And do we have to do it if we did not receive grant funds in that year?
I'm gonna try and answer this without butchering it. Your grant fund, your audit is based off the expenditures in your fiscal year. So what the dates of your fiscal year that are listed in the GATA portal and with sam.gov. If you have no expenditures for that year, then obviously, like we just previously spoke about, you would complete the cipher and the certification form. If you do have expenditures within that fiscal year for any of your grants, then you would refer to your CPA about what type of audit you need to have completed. It's based off the amount of expenditures you've you've incurred in that fiscal year. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it does. Thank you.
Yes, Caitlin was generous enough to post the audit instruction manual in the chat. Please refer to that. It is much more knowledgeable than I am. So, but you can also reach out to us if you have questions, and we will definitely get you accurate answers. Anybody else? You have been a lovely group. I wish you luck for the rest of the day. Have a good one. We can call it here.